Good morning. Can I start today by saying, selfishly, I'm thrilled to have you all to myself.
Yeah, I agree.
I
It's good
really
to
am.
have the show be a little bit quieter, a little bit simpler, less voices all around.
This is
But I
great.
have really enjoyed having Lori on the show, so it's been great.
Absolutely. I know that for sure, but it is, this is like back to our roots, man. Good stuff,
For anybody who's watching the live stream, this is coffee. This is not a dark Guinness beer. And
Yeah.
so,
And you could be dousing that with all kinds
Prove
of
it.
beers.
Prove it.
You never know. So, for those who are curious, yesterday was the kickoff to our first LinkedIn Accelerator. Now, I believe the course needs to be 3 months, but it is kind of it is pricey.
Well, it's an accelerator. So I like the idea of, sure, I think to get the right coaching and to do everything and be a true pro at it, you need the 3 months. But the accelerator offers you the opportunity to get blasted with a fire hose and get it all and get some kind of coaching and get some kind of lift off for yourself. But most likely, you probably still need more help.
So I went through the group yesterday. We did our 45 minutes. And at the end, I said to them, this is the first time we're doing this. Tell me on a scale of 1 to 10, how did this meet your expectations? Which I think people miss all the time. Just
Don't
ask. How do we do, man? Like what's did
Ask
this
for the
work for
feedback.
you? Or so I asked. And I went around the thing and everybody said a 10.
Yeah.
So I said, look, I'm a little disappointed. I thought it should have been an 11. But it was fantastic. Shay was typical, fantastic in terms of his support and follow-up. We covered a lot of ground. And so what I did was I took our 6 basic rules and I have laid them into each lesson. So it was 10,000 feet going a million miles an hour. And I go, did we go too fast? There's the best name on the planet. This guy.
Right? Doug White Wolf.
Like, I don't want to ever do this guy wrong because all he has to do is do a rain dance. And it's
so Doug is a new client. I actually spoke about Doug yesterday on the show. Doug is the CEO of Transformation Math. He is a teacher. He is a tutor. He is a guider. And he's going to probably enjoy the conversation today about AI because it's also at the focal point of his business.
Yeah, so I think, I did a little bit of homework. I'll share some stuff. I think it's going to be an open dialogue. That's what AI is. One other thing before we get started, yesterday's marketing meeting for On the Ball was, I thought, the best meeting we've had in 2023. We stuck to the plan. We stuck to the numbers. Shout out to Sarah and Jake and all the preparation that went into yesterday's meeting. So I believe, credit is due and shout outs are due. So shout out to both of them for the great work. Do you agree, sir?
1,000%. I think they're doing a great job, and it's, we have information to now review, and we then have adjustments to make off of that information. And, Mike McDaniel said it in his podcast. He goes, you're just making the best decision you can with the information that you have.
Right.
If you don't have information, you're shooting in the dark. You're guessing. You're blind. You got no idea. You're hoping that shit's going to work. So now we've got a lot of information that we're able to make decisions off of, and we're continuing to iterate and grow, and they're doing a great job with it. So super proud of Jake and Sarah.
Finally, I did not get a chance to watch the podcast with Mike McDaniel. I would like to do that before Sunday's game. I am a closet Dolphin fan. I mean, we have season tickets. We'll be at the home opener. I don't think if I wear green and everybody's wearing white, it's going to look awkward. So
it's very poor. It's very poor decision to do that.
Poor. And meanwhile, everybody forget about Aaron Rodgers. Everybody was talking about Dalvin Cook. What a bust. What a complete bust. I mean, the guy's terrible.
Look, if we're going to have a football conversation right now, like, you couldn't have walked into a worse situation. Like, you just went in to a team that was supposed to be, really balanced with this Aaron Rodgers passing attack and Garrett Wilson. Also, you have Breece Hall, who's returning from an unbelievable year last year. To think that he's going to be the guy that, like, pushes you over the top. He's supposed to be like your specialty weapon, like supposed to bring him in really unique situations. And now you're going to count on him and Breece Hall to be your workhorses. Good luck.
Incredible. I'd say we kick this thing off. We do wake up music, and then I cannot wait for motivational music today.
Let's go.
Wake up, everybody. Get up, get up, get up, get up. Wake up, come on. Wake up, everybody. Teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen what you have to say. Wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in bed. No more doctor. Hey, come on.
So before I get to motivational music, Sherry Cedar says she's getting used to YouTube. Sarah said yesterday that YouTube is glitch free. So
Look, we love LinkedIn, right? Let's not pretend that we aren't LinkedIn masters and pros and love to use LinkedIn. It's a great place to be to network. But in reality, if you're looking for the best experience to watch the show, you should be on YouTube. That's what the platform is. It's a video platform. So you should go over there. You should subscribe to the show, and you should make sure you're getting your notifications there. But either way, you're winning, whether you're on LinkedIn or you're on YouTube.
absolutely. So I have one question for you today.
What would that question be?
Do you remember?
Of course I remember. Of course.
Yeah, give me.
The 21st of.
Do you remember when it first started? September, love was changing the mind, tender, while chasing the clouds away. Our hearts are ringing in the key that souls are singing as we dance in the night. Remember how the stars roll the night away.
It's the best.
I
It's
was,
the best.
I was writing content for the 21st, man. I could not
I
wait.
can't believe it's 21st of September already. Holy
Great.
smokes. This
Absolutely.
month flew by.
Dude, I mean, you think about the schedule that we went over yesterday. You're gone a lot in October, speaking all
Yeah,
over
the next 3 weeks are next week I'm in Indianapolis, the following week we're in Pittsburgh, the following week I'm in Tallahassee, and the next thing you know, we're in the middle of October. So here we go.
Absolutely incredible. So seeing that is a famous song, September 21st. Do you remember? First of all, if you can't dance to that song, Jonathan Aarons has it right. If you
That
can't
didn't
dance
get
to
you
that,
moving this morning. You're dead.
Listen,
Check your pulse.
Dad, check your pulse. So there's tons of good content all over the internet. If you use it as your library, you will come up with stuff. And I came up with this thing, 7 things you should remember every day. And we'll go through each one of them. But Shay, play the video.
7 things to remember every day. 1. Don't chase anyone. 2. Don't beg anyone to stay. 3. Know your worth. 4. Save space for people who matter. 5. Accept what cannot be changed. 6. Leave what isn't for you. 7. Love yourself.
Boom.
I love it. When
So-
I saw the video last night when you sent over the rundown, I was like, oh, that's a good one.
So just for shits and giggles, before we get into the, chat GPT conversation, break those down for me. Any one jump out at you?
The
Any
number
one you
one's
want
the
to
best
talk
one.
about?
I think don't chase anyone, right? And I think that to me is the ultimate. It's not the comparison that really kills you. It's just the thought that you should be somebody else, you should look like somebody else. Like, you should never be comparing to the other people, but use them as the roadmap. Use them as, what have people done to get to where I want to go? And then use that as your ways, if you will, and then do it your own way. Take the journey yourself and know that it's about your journey and not anybody else's. I love that one.
So that's why I love working with you, because we have similar minds, different styles. My age dictates a different view. I think when I was 37, I might have said the same thing. For me, there's two that jump completely out. Number one is love yourself.
Yeah.
Forget about trying to get other people to love you. If you don't love yourself, people see that. And I think it is the biggest test in life, is to really, really, really love who you are and understand who you are. I think it's the biggest human challenge. And then number two, and this was my challenge in life, leave what isn't for you. Not everything's for you, man. It's not
Right.
a fucking buffet, man. It's not.
And it's so good, and it's so healthy to recognize, you know what, that's not for me. It's okay.
Right.
It's not my style, and it doesn't matter. Maybe somebody is doing something one kind of way and they're uber successful with it. Doesn't mean it's the way you have to do it. Like, that's the one, like, from football, there's so many different, like, it was the saying was, there's so many ways to skin a cat. Why they say that, I have no idea. Who the hell wants to skin a cat? But the
Unless you're eating
term
Chinese food, right?
tournament, there's a lot of different ways to run the offense. There's a lot of different ways to run the defense. There's a lot of different ways to run the team. There's not one that's going to be the only way to be successful. You gotta do the best with what you have, what fits for you. What are your talents? What are your skills? So when you talk about loving yourself and not chasing somebody else, and like, it all feeds into the same energy, which, like, all those things start to compound on top of each other when you really start to feel you have momentum.
Gotta love that Doug is getting involved. And when you love yourself, people notice. Dion loves himself. Dion loves who he is and what he does and what he's producing and who he's producing it for. He don't give a flying shit what anybody else thinks. This is, and I think that is what real success is. Has nothing to do with dollars, wins and losses, none of that.
And
stuff.
I think
And I learned it the hard way.
you referenced it yesterday, I think, on the Huddle. You said rise above, right? Rise above your standards.
Well, it says
rise
it in the
above.
Bible to live above your circumstances.
Right. And that idea, that concept, I think, this has shown up a lot in my leadership conversations recently, like, where they're putting effort into a relationship that they need to be successful inside of the business. And they're like, well, I'm just frustrated and I'm going to stop doing it. And I'm like, why would you do that? Like, you still have your responsibility. Why would you hurt your own behavior? Why would you change your standard? Why would you operate differently because of somebody else's actions and the way you're still you. Rise above the circumstance, rise above the other person's actions, and be the person that shows up no matter what. And so just all of the things that those 7 pillars that you talked about, all help feed that mindset that allow you to rise above your circumstances or standards.
So one of the things I want to impress on the people who follow us every day and, follow this show, and whether you're live or you're seeing it later, is that if you feed yourself with this kind of content every day, it's building the muscle.
Yep.
It lays on top of other stuff that I've digested, and all of a sudden it starts to get strength, and it's an armor that pushes things away. So great conversation. I love that. We can talk about that stuff all day long. we are trying to get the audience to give us what they want to talk about. Jonathan Aarons, first of all, your comment, can that guy narrate my life? Unreal.
It's great voice.
I could say, walk into the ocean. You're walking right in. So great. But you said, hey, can we dig a little deeper into Chat GPT? So thank you for that. It's open for anybody in the huddle to say, hey, I want to talk about objections, negotiations. I want to talk about life. I want to talk what? I want to talk about.
I want to talk about LinkedIn. I want to talk about goal setting. I want to talk about time management. I don't care. I want to talk about sports. I want to talk about the new, headline about Twitter, whatever. Anything that you guys feel is a relevant topic for the huddle. We want to make sure we're engaging with what you guys want to hear. So make sure you throw that in the comments.
It's easy to do. So Chat GPT, I will give it 1 minute. Can anybody tell me what that actually stands for?
Oh, interesting. I don't even know that. I don't know what the GPT says at all. Michelle Potter says that part. Let's talk about goal setting. Put it on the docket. So there we go. Goal setting is going into the queue.
That's
goal
Monday.
setting
Not a girl.
soon. There you go. That's how easy it is. It's how easy it is. Continue to populate the topics and questions that you guys have that you guys want help with, and let's go.
Jim definitely went to YouTube.
No, Jim knew it. Jim for sure knew it.
So Chat Generative Pre-trained Transformer is a large language model developed by OpenAI. It was developed November of 2022. So we are talking about less than a year ago, right? And the last stats by January. So it started in November. By January of this year, it had become what was then the fastest growing consumer software application in history, gaining over 100 million users and contributing to a $29 billion valuation.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I remember Jake was traveling with Aiden, I think, and they sent me a text like, have you heard of Chat GPT? And I was like, Chat what?
Right.
What are you talking about? And then it started to immediately skyrocketed. You couldn't even get on the website. They were so overloaded with users. And over the last 12 months, less really 10 months, I guess, it's really, really become a topic of conversation. I don't think you can go to any business publication where there isn't an article about it. I don't think you can jump into anywhere where they're not having a learning session about it, about how to use it and where to use it. I know I've tried very intentionally to find the right places to incorporate it inside of the business, which I think is the best place to start the conversation. Where is the right place to start incorporating it into your life and into your business?
So the core function of a chatbot is to mimic human conversationalism. So,
Yeah.
So
that speaks to the way that it's supposed to operate. Correct. It doesn't speak to what it does, right? So it's meant to be used or it's meant to function like you're having a conversation. So if you think about if you had the opportunity to talk to anybody in the world, right? How would you talk to them? What questions would you ask? How would you go back and forth? How would you address the conversation? You want to look at the way you operate with the platform that exact way. Like it's a human, like maybe it's the smartest human that you've ever met, right, but it's only going to give you what you ask for, which I think is the really important part to understand.
So among countless examples, it can write and debug computer programs, compose music, teleplays, fairy tales, student essays, answer test questions, generate business ideas, write poetry, song lyrics, translate, summarize. I mean, this is magnificent, the flexibility of this. And I have used it. It's still a computer.
Well, it's only going to give you what you ask for. That's my point so if you really want to unlock the power of it, you got to be unbelievable at understanding what information you really want and being able to extract it out of that in a way that becomes valuable for you. So I liked the place I think everybody should start using it is as a way to learn, right? If you have topics, if you have ideas, if you have problems that you're working on and you're not exactly sure how to answer it or what to do with it or know where to start, go to ChatGPT and just start the conversation there. Hey, ChatGPT, I'm working on this problem. We have a new role that we're trying to create for our organization. And here's some of the responsibilities that I think it would incorporate. What would be a good title for that? What would be some other what would be some other, responsibilities inside of the business that would fit inside of it, and continue to go deeper and deeper and deeper. The best thing that happens to me is when it gives me an answer to something and it hits on something that I have no idea what it's talking about. And I go, "Hey, can you go a little bit deeper on what you mean
Right.
by this?" And boom, here comes a whole nother dissertation about what that really means and how it fits. So it's a great learning tool if you're not doing anything else with it.
So I love what Joy said. And by the way, Joy, welcome back. I failed to welcome you back yesterday. Cannot wait to compare notes about Florence and Tuscany and all that kind of stuff. But you use it for buzzword generation for design concepts. We're actually using it for the same, me and Shay are using it for the same reasons. We want to talk about something. It gives me a running start. It's me as if the canvas was blank and someone ran up and just threw a can of paint on the wall, and it just became something that brought me somewhere I may not have gone. So it starts the process. I think what I'm seeing a lot of is people just taking whatever it spits out and sharing it. And I think I had done this in an earlier huddle. Would you be pissed if you paid an attorney to do something and you found out that all they did was put it into chat GPT?
Well, I mean, go figure. People are lazy, right? Like, I think that's the natural human behavior is to take it and be lazy with it and take the little bit that it gives you or cut the corner with it. They're not really taking it to leverage it. And Doug says, then use the results to give it more context. I think that's the super important part that you need to understand, is that it's what generative means, is that every time you feed it something, it's learning what you're asking for and how you're asking for it. And it's learning more and more to build the context for how it responds. So working inside of the same threads and continuing to give it more and more context around what it is that you're actually doing and what you're looking for will only help you leverage it better.
So this is really a cool conversation. And I think, Jonathan, you're spot on. Seth Godin posted yesterday just an amazing, post.
Jonathan Aarons. Yeah, he did just compare ChatGPT to Bob Ross. Exactly.
Who the hell is Bob Ross?
Oh, no, you're kidding, right?
No, I have no idea. Who's Bob
What?
Ross?
The
Who's Bob
painter
Ross?
with the afro?
I have no idea.
The guy who painted on. Right, so on tomorrow's show, before we start Huddler in the hot seat with Coach Wonstadt, there's got to be a little Bob Ross segment for you.
I have no idea who Bob Ross is. Sorry, I don't know, man. But what I was going to say is, and I posted this in my social media this week, we are all creatures of stories. The better storyteller you are, the more engaging you can be with people. And the challenge is that you all have a voice, whether you like it or not. It's your particular voice, very close to your own DNA. If you take what chat puts out there and use it as your voice, it becomes obviously not you. Yep. You don't talk that way. Like I got an invite yesterday on LinkedIn that was clearly an AI bot. And I looked at the guy's title, and he helps coaches increase their business to millions of dollars. And, but he was like, I even pointed it out in my accelerator course. I was like, who the hell talks like this? This is not how people talk. But all it was generated. It's not someone's voice. And I think it's key that you need to make it your voice. Take in the information, synthesize it, and then have it come out in your voice.
And do it vice versa. Like, if you're going to use it to write content, or you're going to use it to write emails, or you're going to use it to do things for you, feed it a bunch of the information that you've already created. Copy and paste your emails and say, hey, ChatGPT, here's 25 follow-up emails that I've crafted and sent to clients. Can you formulate a follow-up email to somebody that's in the insurance industry that does this, that I've done this with? There are a ton of context. but that requires work. You can't just throw it in there and take the thing out. You still have to do the work. If you want it to be the best tool it can for you, go figure, it requires more work.
I want to bring up one last point, and it's sort of self-serving, but I think it's important. I don't know who Bob Ross is, but I was not afraid to tell this whole audience that I don't know who he is.
Right.
I'm not one of those morons that just shakes my head and goes, yeah, I know him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Bob Ross.
Yeah, right. I don't know who he is. I'm glad that today I will have an aha moment, because as soon as we're off this, I'm going to do a deep dive.
You're going to find unbelievable Bob Ross videos on YouTube.
I write about it in my book. It's an aha moment. I learned something new. I'm a lifelong learner. I learned something new, and thank you. And Doug comes to the party and is making fun of me right off the bat.
Who would have known that the nugget of the day would have been Bob Ross for you? I absolutely
That's why
love it.
we're here, baby.
Unbelievable conversation. Cannot wait for tomorrow, where we get to have our good friend Coach Wannstedt on the show. We'll get to talk all things football. We'll get to talk all things Pittsburgh, and we're just going to get to have a great time with him. So really excited for
Let
him.
me ask you this. Do you think
Yeah.
that there'll be some Dion in the conversation?
Oh, 1,000%. I mean,
I would love
I
to
can't
get
wait
it.
to get his perspective on how he's doing it and what he's doing, and just get to talk some shop with him about the parallels between sports and business, which we always love to do.
Jonathan and everybody else that joins us every single morning. Doug, who's coming to us from the West Coast. You all have an amazing day, and make sure to stay on the ball and get down to business.
Please don't worry about me. I'm about to let my heart speak. My friends keep telling me to leave this. So let's get down to business. Let's get down to business.